Is it gonna load? It's gonna load? Hey, stream, are you gonna load actual... Oh, hey, there it is! Hi! Welcome back! So, I couldn't make up my mind. So, we're doing Great Ace Attorney because someone rolled a d20 and I got a 4. Or, he got a 4, I guess. Wow, that's a lot of chapters. Let's just start from the opening.
Holy shit.
Anyway, yes, sorry, we're gonna go watch the cutscene again. Because that other time didn't count.
The grand end of the century great exhibition of London. Surely there is not a soul who has failed to hear of it. Wondrous new works of culture and industry from every corner of the globe had converged on Hyde Park. Welcoming over 50 million visitors. The last great hurrah of this century. Astonished and delighted people of all nations.
Hello.
Hi.
Of resounding success.
It's time
But
for the
as
Great
regards
Ace
to the
Attorney.
terrible catastrophe.
Yes!
We're in a cutscene.
Very few are aware my friend Mr. Herlock Sholmes had a hand in unraveling the matter. For from the shadows, it was he who earnestly unearthed the facts of the case. And like the centerpiece of the great exhibition, which rose high into the skies of Hyde Park, Sholmes's brilliant deductions, as clear and lofty as the Crystal Tower itself, brought the truth to light.
We're here at the showground of the Great Exhibition, which is absolutely packed with people. The weather is unusually fine, and we're about to witness a most extraordinary scientific experiment. Ladies and gentlemen, the 20th century will see steam engines and electrical power dominate the world. Horse-drawn carts will give way to the motor car. Ships will sprout wings and take to the skies.
I just want to point out, this guy is half right so far.
See, this guy's
Yep.
just like sitting here getting into it, and then you have the guy in the suit in the back just like, yeah, I'm just paid to be here.
We showcase even more advanced technology. A glimpse into the future. A world first. A demonstration of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine.
Ah.
A man will literally be disassembled by a pulse of high voltage electricity and beamed to another location.
Excuse me, but it's the 1800s. I don't see a police box anywhere, sir.
Will be reassembled by a series of complex calculations exactly as it was before.
Oh, poor guy. He's gonna die.
But a few moments from now, this gentleman will, in the blink of an eye, complete an incredible journey through the air. To arrive an instant later on the Crystal Tower behind you!
Oh.
Dude, the cage is just completely unfit. Never mind. Never mind.
Oh. I was gonna say, where's that screeching sound that I usually hear when stuff gets teleported? I didn't hear it that time. I think we fucked up here.
Out. Oh my god.
Oh god, I'm like, oh god, it's been a while since I did this. I'm like, wait, no, I don't have to change my voice for right now. So I forgot about that.
Nope. All of us do though.
Shit. This means I have to practice Shoals again. Shit.
Yes. I mean,
Sammy gets Iris again.
I was gonna say, Kyle rolled a d20. It was either this or it was gonna be Trials and Tribulations.
I mean, I would have been fine with that because I also would have been fine with that because I take lead in that.
Yeah,
game.
I know. That's the worst part. I couldn't decide between the two, so I had to roll it.
Had to roll the dice.
What a pain.
Cammy is here, I think.
Yes. Do you want to just briefly? You want to briefly speak for her then?
Sure, I can do that. Oh, Cammy says my
Discord
Discord is dying. Okay.
Ah, that's fun.
It's closed, but I can hear you. Oh god.
Runo,
Oh.
Runo, are you listening?
Oh, sorry. What was that, Iris?
What's the matter with you? You've been miles away all morning.
Well, I had this odd dream that I was like some guy with spiky hair, completely off into the future, and we were trying to solve a case about some girl getting kidnapped and murder and all these newfangled technology things. It was a weird dream, Iris. Do you know about that? Have you had a dream like that?
No, I have not.
Crunchy, and I'm really sorry, but my headphones aren't working.
Oh no.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
They're dead?
No, they just will not end the voice.
Huh.
And yeah, then I closed Discord and I could still hear you guys talking, and I'm like, but Discord is closed.
You just closed the window, not the chat.
No, I closed everything. I force quitted.
Oh, yeah,
Mm.
that's always a fun time.
I force quitted and it fucking was like, and I'm like, this is broken. I've had a day. I'm really sorry. I haven't taken my medication. I'm really just going through it today.
Well, okay. I mean,
You're
would you rather just sort of sit back and enjoy the vibes then instead? Okay.
I want
Just making the
to
offer.
talk to this adorable Babs.
I want to talk for this adorable Babs.
You mean the adorable Babs who just
I
currently?
said her first two lines. The rest is yours.
Yay! I love her. I'm going to cosplay Irish someday, but it will not be in for a little bit. But someday
I was gonna
she will be.
say
She will be a cosplay.
she would be so fun to cosplay. She's so cute.
Anyway, didn't you like what I cooked for breakfast?
No, that's not it at all. What were we talking about again? Because I spaced out for like a good, I don't know how long, and I think that spiky haired guy with a blue badge and with a blue suit was sort of throwing me off for the last 2 months, 3 months. I don't know.
Saying
I don't.
you were bird brain.
Possibly. I don't know. Iris, I'll tell you this. I am very scared. I keep having these recurring dreams, and I'm very scared. Did you know I had to did you know this person had to freaking cross-examine a fucking parrot? The fuck? Who does that?
So Bruno's just going crazy. Got it. Anyway, today's paper. It's full of news about the great
I read it, and then I went to say exhibition, and then my brain no longer knew English.
So close, just missed one letter, one word.
Yep.
Ah, yes, the Great Exhibition. I'd like to go sometime. I don't have the money for it.
You're really not your usual self today. You seem very, yeah. Don't you agree, Hurley?
I was trying to think of a more Phoenix Wright kind of insult, but I couldn't think of one on the fly.
Did you say something, Iris?
Oh gosh, you're even more down! Oh yeah, I remember this.
I've been here for about half an hour already. We had breakfast together, dude. God, I don't even know what's more crazier, this guy or the mysterious guy, scruffy detective person.
For what? What? Why didn't you mention it before?
I thought you might have known I was here, because breakfast.
You're a dumbass, Hurley.
Ours is quite right. You're clearly lacking in vim. So much so I didn't notice your presence. Of course, I could deduce the reason perfectly well with some simple observations.
What?
Let's see. Yes, for example, your tousled hair this morning with all its unruly spikes. Clearly, it can be deduced therefore that...
Let me stop you right there, Mr. Shlomes, because I think I can see where this is going. My hair always looks like this. It always has, ever since we first met, in fact.
Oh really? How interesting. It just doesn't look like a haircut as such, I suppose.
Yeah, it looks like he just rolled out of bed after a night of sex. Like, what the fuck? Like, why did they choose to do that to him? They did him dirty on with that haircut. Thank you for pointing it out. Holmes.
Hold on. I'm gonna quickly go and well, I need to make sure that a certain
Certain
It
thing
d-
is from there.
yeah. I just need to make sure something is set.
Oh, what a beautiful man. I'm sending this to you, Cam.
Oh?
Well, I'm sending it to the group chat, but this is what I opened my Genshin to.
Oh no.
My MiHoYo page thing. It
What
was
a
the first...
beautiful man.
It's what
There.
opened
There you
my-
go.
my-
There you go. I was like, hold on a second. Why is he not wearing that? Why is he not wearing that? Oh, there it
Oh
is.
my goodness.
I am so glad that you put him in that suit again. I love it.
It crossed my mind recently that it's been 6 months now
6 months?
since I was forbidden from working in court. So I've been wondering how much longer I'm going to be banned.
Oh. Well, that would explain why you seem rather glum. Don't you agree, Hurley?
The fuck are you doing again?
He's not a morning person, I don't think so.
Did you say something, Iris? He really isn't.
Ah, back to moping.
You idiot.
It's not really moping if you're just like falling asleep where you stand.
Man needs a cup of coffee.
He needs more than a cup
So,
of coffee.
what's the matter with Mr.
I
Slums
thought
today?
him was crack too.
Yeah. He seems even more down in the dumps than me.
I know, and the great exhibition has opened. You'd think he'd be excited. Oh, why don't we all go see it together?
I want to, of course I do. But I can't. Not for the time being.
Why not?
Why not? Why not? Because I'm a great detective after all.
So you're embroiled in some tricky case that you can't be distracted from? Is that it?
I don't remember hearing that you were working on a case, Hurley. He's firing out his ass.
I suppose I should try to find out what's going on.
Dumb mans.
Oh, are we getting a recap? Nice! Nice, we're getting a recap of everything. Oh, half a year ago now, I took on the defense of a young girl and a child heard at the Old Bailey. What at first seemed like a simple case of murder that took place at a London pawnbrokery turned out to be one part of a much more far-reaching plot that involved the British government. During the course of the trial, it was found that I made an unavoidable, yet at the same time, unforgivable mistake. I'm not gonna repeat.
No, you don't have to. It's fine. We don't expect you to.
In the end, I had my right to represent people in court revoked. I was told I had to spend my time in research and study, so that's what I've been doing.
You have, haven't you, Runo?
Hold on. Hold on, I need to finish typing this.
What the fuck did I get?
My mind. Okay, there we go.
Reading all those big fat tomes about British law up in your room, and the notes about Sholm's old cases?
Brewing Iris's special blends of tea. Fetching my daily bread for me. You become something of a manservant around here. Starting the silver next master Naruhodo.
Oh my god!
Well, I'm thinking of going to ask the powers that be to reconsider. Specifically Lord Strongheart at the British Supreme Court on Whitewall.
Lord Strongheart?
Ah, the delightful Lord Chief Justice. Not my favorite fellow.
He's not mine either, but he's the man I have to talk to. He's the only one who can grant me permission for me to start working in the courts again. I came to Britain to become the best lawyer I could, and I can't even do that just sitting around here. The whole of London has been swept up in this great exhibition, hasn't it?
The most advanced science, the most modern technology, the finest works of art and feats of engineering. For the next 6 months, our capital will be showcasing these things, and the world will be watching.
Oh, do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to look down on London from one of those lovely balloons. Actually, that sounds dope as hell. Iris, can I come with you?
Look down on... Do you mean those things? Fly?
Yes, of course. They fly high in the sky and don't even need wings to do it. All you need is hot air.
But how? How does hot air have anything to do with flying? It makes no sense. I can't understand it at all.
That's true. A lot of new scientific discoveries. Most people can't understand them at first. But in 100 years' time, all these things will just be common knowledge.
No, a lot of those things are severely, possibly outdated.
Shut up. Hot air balloons are dope as hell.
No, I'm not saying that that's outdated. I'm just saying that. Also, 1 second.
I mean, they are kind of dope as hell.
I want to go on a hot air balloon, but I think I'd literally cry. Like, they're so cool, and I think that'd be such a nifty experience, but like, damn, I'd have so much anxiety in one of those.
But hey,
Literally be like, hold on, I need to turn on the camera just so y'all can like see how I
Honestly,
expect a
I think the
balloon
height's
is
less
to
the
be-
problem and more the lack of room to move.
Okay, so pretend this chair is the basket, right?
Have you flown before in an
I'm
airplane?
on a plane and I do not enjoy it. I don't like heights, Andrew.
I don't either. Yeah, I like flying a lot.
You're wild. It's not so much heights, it's so much as like, it's really hard to explain. It's like a fear of falling. It's not the height per
Yes.
se.
yes,
It's like,
yes.
you know when you
yes.
miss the step and your like entire body like drops out your ass? Yeah, I can't with
Oh,
that.
so so basically heavy turbulence when you go through a pocket of air.
Yes.
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 I do
Oh,
not
you
like
would-
it. I will sit in a fucking plane and I've literally almost like made my dad bleed because I was gripping his arm so hard.
I was gonna say, you would not like flying in a small Cessna plane then.
I have been in one and that was where I nearly took my dad's arm off.
Ah, really? I did that too. My friend took me on a flight that time, and I was also slightly frightened because I wasn't used to all that really, really, really small turbulence inside a small prop plane.
Yeah, in fact, my dad used to have a friend and like he had a son who was he's older than I am, but like not by much. He was like only a couple of years older, and he actually like that's what he does is like a job. and they only kind of like stopped being friends like just before quarantine-ish. So yeah, I got taken into one of those things, and I literally almost shat my pants because I was like, I want off. I want off the ride.
I still did it just because I wanted to experience it. Would I do it again?
My father and his friend's son, who I grew up with, who is basically like an older brother to me, would let me out of that plane. Do you think I got out of that plane for another 2 hours?
Ah, fun.
The answer is no.
Part of my fear stems from a really stupid childhood incident because my uncle works for WestJet and he builds flight simulators. And when I was little, he brought my family to one of his flight sims, and my uncle was the one flying the plane, and I was the co-pilot, and he purposely crashed into the Calgary Tower.
Yeah, that would do it. I think yours is a little bit more reasonable than my fear of planes because I used to be okay with planes when I was like a kid. Because like almost every Christmas, my grandma and I would go out to Hawaii. But like then I watched the TV show Lost.
Oh, yep.
And I saw the remnants of that plane, and I'm like, that could have been me.
So
And
Yep.
now
why didn't I get that effect? Cause I flew planes a lot. I watched Air Mayday and Air Crash Investigations. I watched freaking simulations of plane
Funny because,
crashing.
Like, I think I watched Mayday well before I ever got on a plane for the first time, and I remember probably because of that I was nervous as hell, and somehow I don't have a fear of flying.
No, I don't. Like I hate to say I actually watched an episode while on the plane.
That's ballsy, dude. Props to you.
I mean, genuinely speaking, I needed some entertainment. I'm like, oh hey, I got Air Crash Investigations.
I would have watched
Tap.
I would have watched some goddamn Elmo's World bullshit before watching that.
Oh no, I watched the entire episode on the plane. Ironically, it was one about crashing in the middle of the ocean. I was like, oh, interesting. Not once.
Sesame Street. I would have taken Sesame Street.
To be fair, I think I was like, I think like I got a glance from like my neighbor next to me while I was watching, and they're like, they gave me like a really weird face. And I'm like, I didn't even.
Also give you a weird face if you were friggin' watching that.
Andrew, full stop. If you were watching that next to me on the plane, I would have asked one of the stewardesses to move. Like, you're
That's
telling
fair.
us this story like it's a normal thing for you to watch on a plane, but that's actually just sociopathic. What the fuck?
No, that was like a one-time occurrence. I haven't watched the series since.
You made the choice to watch the episode.
No, I didn't have much of a choice. I had stuff loaded on there, but that was the only one that loaded on my tablet that time.
You downloaded it?
Well, no, because I was watching. No, but I was watching it. I was watching it at the airport because I needed something to do, and I like planes.
It's not any better! Oh my god! Yes, that's just sociopathic, Andrew. I'm sorry. Just accept it as a fact that just watching that on a plane or even in the airport was just crazy of you to do. And that person who looked at you weirdly was fully within their right to do so. Anyway, we can continue now. Jesus!
Well, in the words of Rinosuke, I suppose they might be.
Just everything you added to your story just made it worse.
That's quite all right because I still like flying. And I still like planes.
You're insane.
The crashes don't change the fact that air travel is still one of the safest ways to travel.
Air
Yeah,
travel
because
is
there's so few of them out there. There's not like the general population can't have access to planes, so that means there won't be like as many access because you need significant training to go through planes.
Hey, we
Sorry,
needed the
I don't
we.
have negative emotions about public access. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, the reason we had these crashes is to learn from our mistakes. It's why air travel's much more safer. It's much more safer than it ever was.
Also, to be completely fair, a lot of shit can go wrong on a plane before it actually becomes a genuine problem.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
Like, it's not like a car where, like, a single bolt comes loose and your engine blows up.
Yeah. And, like, planes are... I will agree with you. I do think planes are absolutely really cool, and they are, like, they're just super dope. Like, how did we manage to think of this? Like, that's just really cool. But, like, at the same time, there's just something about a plane and being so far off the ground that just does not sit right with me, and I'm like, I will look at the plane from the ground. Thank you. I'm short, and that was where I was meant to stay.
So I guess space travel's out of the question then.
Oh no, I would do space travel in a heartbeat. I don't care if I would literally die from panic.
Like that goes completely opposite of your argument.
No.
You can't fall in zero gravity.
There's
True.
But like at the same
But technically gravity's kind of gonna pull you back at some point.
Andrew, wait. Space is different because I like stars. I've wanted to be a scientist my entire life. I like stars, but I also really like dinosaurs and rocks. So
Why could you be a scientist for planes? I'm kidding.
If I could go
I'm
to
kidding.
space, I would, because then there would be cool outer space rocks that I could look at, and maybe outer space bones. They're all connected. Sorry, I'm just a big kid. You got me talking about like my hyper focuses, and I'm really sorry. Do you guys want any dinosaur facts?
Iris, this is a very good line. This is a very valid point, Iris.
Oh my god, Gabby.
You guys want any dinosaur facts? I have dinosaur facts. Anyway,
I will happily
I was
do them maybe outside of stream.
okay, fair enough.
I was gonna press A and just skip the line. And just pretend.
Okay. Mind you, some of the science being demonstrated seems very questionable. It's still very questionable, Iris.
I'm sorry,
to
but I
disappoint you.
now have headcanon of Iris just running circles around Bruno with everything she knows.
Something went wrong on the open experimentation stage of yesterday, apparently. There was a huge explosion. Still, I wish I'd seen it, though. I'd love to see how bad some of those scam experiments really are.
Me too, Iris.
And you call me a sociopath for
I never
watching
said that.
planes crash on a plane. Iris literally wanted to see this damn explosion and wanted to see stuff fail and possibly kill a person.
A sociopath. Oh yeah, I would love to set things on fire. I'd love to set an explosion. Do you know how cool that shit would be? But unfortunately, it's technically illegal. So
Says the innocent 10-year-old girl.
Montana during the 4th of July, and we light off fireworks.
ooh, yes.
Because that is legal and also very fun. Source, I have done that before.
Explosions.
Yes. See here. Every page of this paper carries some article or other about the Great Exhibition. But the brighter things shine, and the darker the shadows that are cast behind them. Personally, I find myself drawn to the darkness, to the impenetrable. That is my proper atmosphere.
Shloms, what are you doing? You don't have... Shloms, what are you doing with your hair? You're not wearing a hat.
And
Shadows cast behind. Is that a metaphorical way of referring to the back page of the paper?
I'm so sad that that's how Runo took that, because I was like, this man is invested in space. He wants to know about space. And I was like, ooh, space. And then it fucking just papers. And I'm like, no, okay, just me.
I mean, it is Sholmes. He's kind of a dramatic bitch.
Yeah.
I won't deny that, yeah. Are you investigating a particularly tricky case at the moment, Mr. Schlums?
You could say that, I suppose.
Nothing more to add? That's not like you. What sort of case is it?
Shh! Quiet, Mr. Naruhodo. We must not discuss it here. You never know who might be listening.
You're acting very strangely, Hurley.
I agree, Iris. He is acting very strangely.
Yeah.
Hey, you!
Now, Iris, I always act strangely.
Yeah.
I-
a little stranger than normal.
I was gonna say, I know what you're. I know you know that you finished the game, okay?
This is Susato speaking from Japan.
What are you talking about? You're in my.
Strangely.
What do you mean? She's in my court records, so therefore she's clearly coming back in some way. What do you mean, Iris?
Well, usually,
Just here.
the more mysterious and complicated a case is, better Hurley's mood.
I was gonna say, like, I could just hear the echoes of Susato crying in the background.
Ah,
Ah,
Is it really a case that's bothering you?
Iris, please. You must exercise your astute powers of observation and deduction on me without invitation. Remember what I always say. Put yourself in the shoes of the individual about whom you're making deductions.
You say that, do you? You say that, do you? You, Mr. Schlomes!
Never mind. Once I've had a cup of tea, I must make my way at once to the crime scene.
oh my god, Sloans.
That was a deep sigh. Well, I might as well look at the paper.
He always says
Every article on the French page is about the Great Exhibition. Public experiments that demonstrate brand new scientific ideas, cultural exhibits from around the globe. It's also positive and hopeful about the coming century. We must all go see it properly before too long. So many glowing reports about the Great Exhibition, and everything that's going on there. Other than this rather gloomy one, that is. Wait, what?
What's the matter, Runo?
The Reaper attacked. That's Lord Van Zeeks! This must be what Mr. Slums was talking about. Does he know more anymore? I wonder. Oh, no. It says in the paper that Lord Van Zeeks was attacked. That's terrible!
You know the legend of the Reap of the Bailey, of course, don't you? Only too well, in fact.
Yes, Prosecutor Brown Van Zeeks. They say that if the Reaper is in the is the prosecutor in the case, there's no salvation for whoever is in the dock. Even if the defendant is found not guilty. Once the Reaper has someone in his sights, one way or another, that person's time left on this very earth is short.
Okay, but like, Lord Van Zeeks is hot, so he's forgiven. Thank you.
He can't be forgiven if he's dead. So
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
we know you're a Van Zeek simp. It's okay. We accept this.
We make a whole, like, we do that PowerPoint presentation thing, and mine is all about, I am a Lord Van Zeek simp. Here's why.
Oh my god, you should do that.
Or, I am a Tartaglia simp. Here's why.
That would be such a good
No,
screen.
I am a simp, why you should be too.
I am a simp. This is why you should be too.
Okay, you want to put that to the test? E3 make a presentation to present it to the internet?
Yeah, I want to do this as a stream. I would think that would be hilarious.
That That would be really funny.
Wait, in
Have you-
advance
Just
or
all
in
of us?
advance or like speedrun?
In advance.
Like we have 20 minutes and then go.
Oh, no, in
We
advance.
no longer play Great Ace Attorney, we just fucking speedrun.
No, I'll give you
No.
time.
Imagine how
Doesn't-
chaotic it would be for speedrunning!
Well, okay, you think about ideas, but you can't make the presentation just yet, okay?
I'm fucking on my mind.
Why I am a child simp and why you should be too.
By the way, I say you three, as in you three specifically. I'm just here for the vibe. I'm just gonna be here for the vibes.
Okay, wait. We need to clear this up before we continue. What do you mean, 3? Are you telling us you don't have a simp?
No,
Guys,
I'm too far.
no,
I'm too far gone
no.
from.
Andrew. No, Andrew does have a simp and it's Kirby and Kerbo. Thank you.
Why you should follow Jesus Christ? Why you should follow Jesus Christ in the teachings of Kerbo?
Yes,
I will
do
pull.
it.
I will pull. Okay, I will pull evidence from freaking.
He's so good.
I will pull information from. I will watch every single damn terminal montage and gather evidence to support my claim.
Okay. You do you, boo.
Okay. Anyway,
I think that's
we'll
just
talk
a
about.
stream.
Let's continue because we're playing. We're not gonna speed run. Well, keep ideas in your mind. Okay.
Oh, anyways.
I'm so sorry. I'm single-handedly distracting everybody. I'm sorry. Oh
All
my
good.
god, I'm the fidget. I'm the thing that the teachers are worried about. I'm the fidget toy. I need a moment.
I was gonna say
Okay.
this is supposed to be this is the thing that's supposed to be distracting us. It's not even distracting us that well.
Cammy right now just has the attention span of a golden retriever, and you just need to keep going.
Like, deadass,
Got
just
it. Got
talk
it.
over
Got
me.
it.
I am
Got
just
it. Got it. Got it.
Very well then.
Kyle, go.
Its finest rogues always find ways around the law. They'll stop at nothing to secure an acquittal at trial. Falsifying evidence, paying sham witnesses, threatening jurors, bribing judges.
Ah, where have I heard that before?
But even such devious tactics as these cannot save them from the hand of the Reaper. As you've experienced yourself, haven't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, I've seen the Reaper's Retribution Network.
Many of these criminal rogues are reckless and quite unafraid to die. If a leader among their fraternity is seen and taken by the Reaper, retaliation like this does occur. Really, the capital has a never-ending supply of such scoundrels.
So, do you mean Lord Van Zeeks has been attacked like this before? This isn't the first time?
He's quite an accomplished combatant, you know. He doesn't take these attacks lying down. Although, it seems that his assailants were armed with guns this time.
Oh my goodness, is he alright then? Is Lord Van Zeeks hurt?
My dear fellow, how on earth would I know?
Well, in the article here it says, as to one of Lord Van Zeeks and his condition, all will be revealed in tomorrow's morning edition.
Ah, I see. Well, we shall have to be patient then.
No, I can't wait until tomorrow!
In that case, you shall have to inquire with somebody in the know.
But who? Lord Strongheart, perhaps?
Well, I must be leaving now.
Yes, understood. See you later, Mr. Slomes.
Ha! You really are a shameless liar sometimes, my dear fellow.
What?
You seek to put me off my guard and follow me, don't you? Well, you'd be wasting your time.
The thought hadn't crossed my mind. But now I'm wondering where you're going.
Well then, see you later indeed.
I love his little finger gun salute thing. It's just adorable.
It's pretty good. Sholmes has some great poses.
Yeah, man.
Listen to him. He's still laughing on his way out the door.
Look at the baby. Look at the kid.
It's fucking Dead Mouse!
Right, we haven't seen this outfit yet.
I haven't either.
She's so fucking cute.
You know what I see right now? Oh, I'm sorry. I just see Dead Mouse right now. You got the ears, you got the eyes, you're just missing the big mouth.
Right? Okay. Dead Mouse's helmet is fucking cool though.
Yeah, I know. That's the cool part.
Yeah, so it still looks dope as hell. So don't
Okay, side note.
say that
have
like
you
it's a bad thing.
Sorry, complete side note because we mentioned Dead Mouse. Have you seen like his home studio?
No.
Oh my god. Have you seen his cube?
Like,
Have you seen his cube?
Oh my gosh. Her little outfit. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna make this one. Fuck all of her other outfits. I love this outfit. I didn't
Oh,
even read the line.
Iris, what are you wearing?
It was just fucking. I've got change to go to the Great Exhibition. You're going to take me.
What? But I was just about to go to the Supreme Court.
Nope. Well, sounds fun too. You're gonna take me there then.
I'm so upset that she has decided that she was going to the Supreme Court. I wanted to see the air balloons.
Alright, fine. Just lower that weapon, would you?
Of course. And to the Supreme Court, then we'll go to see the Great Exhibition. I hate these moves. Ooh, that's so cool. I
like
love
look,
what
yeah. It's all analog. It's all
Table with a
analog
box.
sims. Everything in there is analog, and it's insane.
Oh my god, that's so cute.
Wait, hold on. I need to find the...
I thought the middle piece with the chair was like a cardboard box, and I thought I had a stroke for a second because I'm like, why does this man have such cool shit and then a cardboard box? And then I realized it was just a wonky looking table.
Yeah.
Hold on.
But
Where
yeah,
is
so, like,
where is
the
it?
vast majority of that I think is like analog synths. That's what all the cables are for, is to actually like change the sounds. All the cabling I think runs underneath the floor.
Oh, that's so cool.
Obviously, all the
Imagine being
speakers. He has cameras and stuff in there for streaming because he streams it on occasion.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Imagine
Oh,
being
here-
rich enough
here-
to do some cool shit like this.
Oh, by the way, there's this Cube V3.
Ooh.
And then this is behind the scenes of Cube V3. That's what it looks like.
I love
Damn.
DJ setups. DJ setups are just so fucking. There's something about it
The
that
awesome thing that he's also pretty big tech nerd as well, which is the best part.
Dead Mouse is just he makes good music, like just and honestly, Daft Punk too. Like those are my two favorite like. musicians
Daft
of
Punk
all time.
retired.
Yeah, but he's still my
Yeah,
favorite.
They
they're
also
still my
went
favorite
for
musician.
like 20 years.
Yeah.
I understand why he had to retire, and I get it. That's totally okay. But like at the same time, I grew up with them. They hold a special place in my heart, and they always will. And their music is so good.
It's been about 6 months now since I was last here. But some things never change. Like the sense of foreboding I always seem to feel in this place. Also the
I was
nagging
gonna say dread.
Also, the nagging voice in my mind that keeps talking about mysterious mouse, some guy named Mouse and Punk.
Could you imagine if
That's so adorable!
his voice like,
Oh, it doesn't seem to be bothering Iris at all, though. She's happily reading over there. Oh, so cute.
oh my god, someone sent me that as a screen cap.
Oh, she's
Also,
gone.
What would you appreciate? Iris dead ass just walked into Stronart's private library, yoinked a book, and started reading.
I mean, same, queen. Oh, I love this place. I always find so many interesting books here.
Of course, I was always forgetting you've been here before. The time we came here 6 months ago.
Oh my
This is after someone was given news that she was to return to Japan. Oh. I know who that is.
this.
Oh, well, Lord Strongheart. I trust you've been keeping well.
He looks like a Pokemon villain or gym leader. I just
Kinda does, honestly.
my brain works in mysterious ways.
Let's see. Since you arrived and requested an audience, it's been 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. I've kept you waiting a while. My apologies.
Oh, no, not at all. I like nothing more than standing around staring into space.
Good to know.
Good to know. That doesn't appear to bother him at all. I'm not going to explain this. Blah, 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 blah.
In
Hop, 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 hop. Hop, hop,
As
hop,
you're
hop.
aware, the Great Exhibition of London is now underway at last. We're extremely busy as a result, policing the grounds, guarding the new technologies, dealing with petty crime. And furthermore, as of next month, we shall open the International Forensic Science Symposium.
Oh, I've not heard about that.
Investigating authorities from 40 countries around the globe will be taking part, including from your own land. Forensic science is the future. The world must embrace it. As we're the hosting nation, I have much to do, and it is my highest priority. If others must wait for my attention as a result, so be it.
Well, it's nice to know that it's nice to know where I stand.
So, you wish to consult with me? Of course, I can very well imagine what this is about.
Ah, well, thank you for agreeing to this meeting, my lord. I want to be allowed to start working as defense lawyer again in court. That's what brought me here today. But actually, there's something else playing on my mind as it happens.
Bruno, just take a deep breath and come out with it.
I actually came here today to ask for your permission.
Go on.
6 months ago, my right to work in court as a lawyer was revoked, and I was told to spend my time studying. Obviously, I'm very sorry for what happened, but the thing is, it made me understand what it really means to defend somebody under the rules of a foreign justice system, and I desperately want to have another go. Please, permit me to enter the courtroom once again!
Mr. Naruhodo,
Yes? Oh, here it comes.
I'm sure you haven't forgotten your position here, have you? At best, you are a substitute for your compatriot. This was never your intended role.
Ooh.
Well, that's true. The Japanese government actually sent my best friend on the study tour, not me. Should have been Kazuma. He was so determined to bring change to our own justice system at home. That was his calling. I don't need to recap. Yeah.
Relive.
Mr. Asogi was my best friend, you see. That's why I can't leave it unfinished. I have to fulfill his calling for him.
His calling, you say? Has it never occurred to you that perhaps you know nothing of his true calling?
Sorry?
The mission with which that young law student was charged, what do you suppose it really was?
What do you mean? Mission? He's not making any sense.
Never mind. I've read all the reports you've submitted over the past 6 months. It's clear to me that you regret your actions and have been studiously obeying your revised instructions.
Do you mean...
As of this moment, I reinstate your license to practice law here in Great Britain.
Thank you! Thank you so much!
Wonderful news, Runo.
In fact, I believe I have the perfect case to mark your comeback. A curious affair. You'll consider it, I hope?
Oh, of course! Please, tell me more! You described it as a curious affair?
Yes, that's right. I believe it was reported in the press. Are you aware that there was a serious accident at the Great Exhibition yesterday?
Oh, no.
Yes, I read about it. A professor from Germany tried to carry out a crazy experiment. Let me see. How is it described? Super high voltage, instantaneous kinesis, I think.
More like super high voltage instantaneous killing. Instantaneous kinesis. As in moving things with a click of the fingers?
That's right. It's just what my herbal blend needs. A dash of devil may care.
Oh, currently your blends do not have a dash of, or basically have a dash devil may not care. Got it. Well, whatever the serious accident was actually, it's clearly captured Iris's imagination.
It's an unfortunate business. A large explosion engulfed the public experimentation stage, and a man lost his life. A certain Mr. Odie Asman, an investor and a well-known figure in society.
A large explosion?
A man died.
The man responsible for the experiment was Professor Albert Harebrain. He was detained immediately after the incident and is due to appear in court tomorrow. On the charge of murder.
What? Murder?
If you intend to take on his defense, you should hurry to meet with him at the prison. There is very little time left for you to carry out any kind of investigation.
The Great Exhibition. A scientific experiment gone wrong. And murder? Murder. I feel out of my depth before I even started. Still.
We should go to the prison straight away then, and try and meet with this German professor, don't you think?
Definitely.
Ah, yes. One more thing about the case. There's a connection with our mutual acquaintance, the Reaper.
Oh, with Lord Van Zieks. How?
All sorts of conferences have been taking place around the world to coincide with the Great Exhibition. And next month, the largest and most important of them at all will take place at last. The International Forensic Science Symposium.
It does seem as though criminal investigation needs to embrace scientific methods, doesn't it?
Exactly. London, the global epicenter of culture, science, and wealth, now has a population exceeding 6 million. Sadly, crime in the capital is growing at a similarly startling rate. So it's imperative that we use the latest scientific methods to investigate and resolve cases as efficiently as possible.
Which is what's known as forensic science, isn't it?
Exactly. The future of policing. Regrettably, however, Britain is currently dragging its feet when it comes to the adoption of forensic methods.
Oh dear, that's alarming.
Exactly. It's extremely alarming. If I were Her Majesty's Attorney General, you can be sure. The numbers of crimes committed and resolved in London would be very different to the current figures. and I can cite 12 solid arguments and 223 individual reasons to support my claim.
Sorry?
By way of apology for keeping you waiting earlier, I shall detail every one now.
What?
Oh, how fascinating!
Oh boy.
It all began 15 years ago,
The echo.
Habababadaka. Hababab- Habababagata.
Oh my god!
Yes,
How cool
he's
is that?
still going.
And that more or less sums up my feelings on the matter. In the simplest of terms, of course. Essentially, to formally establish a forensic investigation division within Scotland Yard. That is my mission.
Oh, right, yes, that's wonderful.
Exactly. Wonderful is precisely what it would be.
Naruhodo just zoned the fuck out.
Iris isn't paying attention at all. She's got her nose in another book now. Okay, if you want to take your gift right now, go right ahead.
Yeah. I have to do everything in this goddamn house.
Well, you said you wanted a picture, so there it is.
I said I wanted a screen cap. Fucking-
Alright, give me a sec, give me a sec, give me a sec.
I got the fucking picture now. Just continue.
No, because I want to save a picture
Do
too.
everything in this goddamn house.
Oh my god, Cammy.
Save that. Okay.
Oh, is it over? Did you learn anything useful?
I actually drifted off for the most part. He's surprisingly ardent about forensic science. Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen this?
The reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition? Of course.
No, not that. The story on the back page.
What story? The Reaper attacked. Ah, that. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not?
Mr. Reaper. What happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he?
There's no need for concern. Lord Van Zeeks would not be so easily dispatched, I assure you.
Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know.
Very well, if it interests you.
It does, strangely.
Fortunately, Lord Van Zeeks emerged from the attack unscathed. Street ruffians are no match for that man. He's a very capable fighter.
But that's incredible. They were armed with guns. Why was he attacked, though? Do we know?
It's related to events that occurred a month ago. A leader of one of the capital's criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by Van Zeeks. But the man was acquitted. I've no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes.
Large sums of money.
A deplorable situation. Members of the jury were bribed, it seems. However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question met a dramatic end yesterday.
But you're not suggesting it was the work of the Reaper, surely?
The victim's henchmen certainly seemed to think so. He was a man by the name of Osman, Mr. Odie Osman.
Did you say Osman?
The man who died in the big explosion at the Great Expedition.
Yes, known publicly as an investor, but in reality, the head of a significant criminal organization.
Unbelievable. I wonder, could I ask you something, Lord Strongheart?
Try me.
Why did you use Lord Van Zeeks as a prosecutor? all the criminals who managed to get off in court then meet with mysterious ends outside the courtroom. And fearful of that fate, they seek to strike at Lord Van Zeeks first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but still, something is clearly going on here.
I have Van Zeek's work for the prosecution service for 2 reasons. Firstly, the man is the best prosecutor in the capital, bar none. And secondly, any deaths of criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trials are nothing to do with him.
But that doesn't make any sense. How can you explain the way so many have died if not by someone's hand?
Van Zeeks may have earned himself the moniker of the Reaper, but he is no killer. So he will continue to prosecute on behalf of the Crown. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course.
You know what, Strongheart? That's fair. That's a valid reason.
That's a fair enough stance.
Yep.
Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement. I'm already 11 hours and 16 minutes late. My colleagues may be starting to fidget.
11 hours late? That's quite something.
That meeting had already started when I arrived back here for this engagement with you. So lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man.
I'm sure it stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. Oh, yes! Where would I find Lord Van Zeeks now?
I would assume he's at his office.
Right. I'll go ask him about the attack in person. I want to get this straight from the horse's mouth.
Away with you now. I'm leaving Professor Harebrain's defense entirely in your hands.
Of course, yes. Thank you very much, my lord.
Huh. What an odd name.
Alright, where are we going? Prison?
Oh, she has cute little dialogues. Adorable.
Alright, you want to read them?
I just was pointing them out for sure. What a fun place! Ooh, I'd like to strip that big clock apart, you know?
Oh my god, Iris.
God damn it.
This is where your client is, isn't it? Let's find out what the story is. You haven't been to this place yet. Don't forget to take me with you when you go. What shall I make for breakfast tomorrow? How may I surprise you, Runa? It's been 6 months now, hasn't it? Since Susie went back to Japan? That's a sad
Alright.
dialogue box.
Well, we might as well. Oh, he's reading!
Oh my god, he's so adorable.
The warden said to cell 11. This is the one.
Oh, there's someone curled up in a ball in the back corner.
What's his name again? Professor Albert Harebrain, wasn't it? Excuse me, Professor Harebrain. Oh, okay. I want to do him.
Do it.
Who are you? I'm Renosuke Ranodo. I'm a defense lawyer. A lawyer! Ah! Was it something I said? A lawyer, you say? Would you be here about the experiment? Are you going to defend my hypothesis? Your hypothesis? Sorry, I don't... Yesterday's demonstration! That magnificent demonstration was... It was an out-and-out success by anyone's calculations. But despite that, no one listens! No lawyer believes in science. When it's explained, they all leave at high velocity. Now it's probably not a good time to mention that your zeal has made my concentration leave for a while, too. Well, he's a charming fellow, isn't he?
He's a character.
You mentioned the demonstration yesterday.
The papers have called it a spectacular failure. After all, a man died in the explosion, didn't he?
Ah! Yes, you can interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense. The experiment was a failure, but at the same time, it was a great success. You've lost me. I saw it with my own eyes, right there in front of me. Mr. Osmond was spontaneously disassembled.
Ugh.
Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculations had predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the Crystal Tower by instantaneous kinesis. However, the machine exploded and Mr. Osmond, in fact, perished. Yes, I can't deny that part of the experiment was a failure. So what you're really saying is the large explosion that killed Mr. Osmond was an accident, correct?
But the bigwigs had you arrested on suspicion of murder.
I was responsible for a man's death. That is immutable truth here. That is the immutable truth here. And for that, I wish to be punished at once. But murder? Not in a million years. It was an accident. Simply an accident. I see.
Hurley and I were talking this morning, you know. He said the situation would change completely depending on whether it was treated as an accident or murder.
How exactly?
Well, if it really was an accident, then the professor's machine would be kept in protective custody.
On what grounds? Ah, yes, it's newly established here in Britain, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. That one passed me by.
But if the case is treated as murder,
Then they'll say that my machine was the murder weapon, and they'll be able to pour over it as much as they like. If they examine it in detail, they'll have to find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea. My precious hypothesis will be stolen. The machine must be protected at all costs. That's why it's imperative this whole incident is shown to have been an accident in tomorrow's trial. Ah, I see now. So, in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition Showground yesterday. Yes, or rather, no, the devil's in the details. Strictly speaking, it was a terrible explosion. Sounds the same to me.
you were demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? Fascinating.
Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible by using a sufficiently high voltage to break those bonds and beam the particles through space. That's in a nutshell. That's my idea, you see? That's my amazing hypothesis. Gosh, that's unimaginably high-level science. But we all know, in fact, kids, that if you get shocked by electricity, you die. I'm pretty sure that's a fact.
I mean, he's not technically wrong,
Mm.
but I don't think they have the science at this day and age to manage that.
No, I think it's more so the problem of because you're standing on something and you're the ground, it's gonna flow through you and kill you. Because if we're going by that logic of, his theory is correct, technically if you're in a suspended space, not touching anything conductive, you could, in theory, because that electricity is just flowing within your body, technically could break your atoms apart.
Yeah, you'd still technically die, but you could be teleported.
Yeah,
Wouldn't say
it's
you
just
would die.
the problem is you're also shorting yourself to the ground, so you're basically just a part of the electricity line to the ground.
Yes, but if you manage to negate the grounding effect, you wouldn't be able to, you'd just be...
I mean, yeah, you'll probably be dead anyway.
You could, in theory, we don't have the science yet, but you could, in theory, if you get the science far enough, by splitting the atoms, we could reassemble the atoms with, in the correct order so that you get the person again.
Yeah, that's true.
Find a way to contain and then transport said atoms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How badly do you want an existential crisis right now?
I don't know. This guy's clearly very engaged about this whole thing. Oh, but dare to imagine it, dare to dream such incredible technology. I'm sorry, you're about 1,000 years off, unfortunately. 2,000 actually. Just think, one moment I could be here in the cell, and the next I could be at the Great Exhibition again. Well, yes, that would be incredible. And the next, in the mere blink of an eye, I could be at the Great Parisian Theater, say. The possibilities are endless. The whole of our vast planet would be within reach. So, no more hiding wardrobes on rocky seas for 50 days.
I don't really see it like that.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, the planet wouldn't really seem vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like it had shrunk.
My word, that's exactly right. What are the implications? What does this mean?
But if you figure out being able to teleport matter and people, then the possibilities are endless. You could teleport into space. You could go instantly to space. Oops, that got Professor Bunnybrain really worried by the look of it.
Clearly, this is yet another case of just because you can, doesn't mean you should, I suppose. The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works, but without a practical demonstration, it means nothing. And that's always the fly in the ointment.
Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money. Money that young scientists like you don't have.
That's exactly it, yes.
Hurley's always complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science.
Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known inventor, Mr. Asman. The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? Whoop. The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Odie Asman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man? He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany about a year ago. He said that he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thanked my lucky stars. I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then.
Money for scientific research. I'm so envious.
As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel. Oh, really? An archangel, even. He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for a presentation at the Great Exhibition, and if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research from the British government. Mr. Asman provided me the money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine to my precise specifications.
But then your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion.
As you can see, I owe everything to Mr. Asman. I would never, ever have thought of taking the man's life. Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. If only we had a magical charm that could tell us if he was lying or not. Oh well. Actually, I think that's all we're gonna get from him because I don't have any other evidence to present. I'll guess this, I guess. Ah, fascinating, yes! In Japan, where I come from, it's a symbol of a defense lawyer. Wearing it is very bracing, I find. Your words make some sense to me, but they are entirely illogical. What do you mean? Well, for example, I find this white laboratory coat I wear for my work very bracing too. However, in my case, there is a perfectly logical reason for that feeling. Oh, really? What is it? I purchased the wrong size by mistake. This one's too small for me. Sleeves especially are extremely bracing. I can barely move my wrists. That's what you call logical, is it? Of course, it's entirely logical. That's science, Mr. Naruto. Also, I feel bad. The dude's wearing a very, very tight suit. Jacket. Poor guy. Well, I guess we should go to the prosecutor's office.
I get one more goddamn husky in this game, I'm going to cry.
Wow. You know what this office reminds me of?
What?
I'm sorry, I'm
Ah. This office reminds me of a very certain chief of the police's office.
Shit, now that you mention it.
Mr.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I feel like
I
it's
actually didn't notice that.
Mr. Gant. Is this your office from the past?
Oh,
Ooh, so this is the legendary Reaper's office.
I feel bad for Cam. She really wanted to jump back into this game, and like so far she has had nothing to say for this entire time.
yeah, I've literally been muted the entire time.
That's so unfortunate.
I know you've been for a long time, for the longest time you've been wanting to jump back into this game, and we finally jumped back. And what happens? I
I'm
don't get to.
waiting for certain moments to come, so I'm just sitting here just enjoying the ride because I can't wait for your reactions, Andrew. I literally can't.
Yes, it appears to be so.
Brr, it sends a chill down your spine, doesn't it? An amazingly deathly atmosphere.
Oh, is that that hooded figure is so still? I had noticed his or her presence. I wonder who it is. Ah!
Yes, I'll do him. I haven't done voice.
Do it.
He's as unwelcoming as I thought he'd be. Actually, maybe even more so. Oh, I'm glad to see you're well.
But I can't speak today.
Well, you'll get another chance. So, who's the person over there by the wall being punished for something or other?
No punishment is taking place here.
Oh,
That's my apprentice, and he's sitting there of his own free will.
I didn't know you had an apprentice. Must be the same person who was pictured in the newspaper.
He's very able in combat. A requisite skill for anyone under my tutelage. I can't speak today.
Tutelage? Are you referring to the attack on the Reaper that was reported in the papers?
The Reaper. I'd be interested to know the Reaper's true identity myself. Assuming, that is, such a fabled fiend genuinely inhabits our great courtrooms.
I want to know who that person in the mysterious hood is. Lord Strongheart said that the assault last night was some sort of revenge attack.
True, carried out by a henchman of Odie Asmon's criminal organization. The investigation meant their arrests were imminent. Presumably, some hoped to kill me before that happened.
Odie Osman.
He's always masqueraded as one of London's most powerful financiers, a global investor. But his enormous wealth came to him by underhand means, via his criminal activities.
And he used that money to buy himself a verdict of not guilty when he found himself in court, didn't he? Being prosecuted by you, Mr. Reaper.
But the man got his comeuppance in the end. Yesterday, in fact, in extraordinary circumstances. It was the most unusual cause of death.
I know about that. It was super high voltage and sustaining kinesis gone wrong. Mr. Asman died when the demonstration on the public experimentation stage ended in an enormous explosion.
Correct. And you think I have some kind of divine ability to cause an accident like that to happen, do you?
Well, no, that does seem a little far-fetched. If this man really is the fabled Reaper, then he has to be innocent of this particular death, at least.
taking on the professor's defense for the trial tomorrow.
What? You're going to be defending him?
Oh, yes, that's right. Though I barely know the man's name yet, to be honest.
His name is Albert. Albert Hairbrain.
That's right. Do you know him by any chance?
Of course. He's a contemporary of mine. We were at university together.
Your...
What?
Ooh, more juicy details. I understood that Professor Hairbrain was from Germany, though.
Hairbrain's from a respectable British family. After graduating from the University of London, he moved to Germany to carry out research. That's all.
So you were students together.
I was in the Faculty of Law, of course, and he in Science, so our paths were rarely crossed. But curiously, we got along. Though I've not met him since my university days. I certainly didn't expect our next encounter to take this form.
How old is Van Zieks?
He's like
33, 30. Oh, okay. Oh, Mr. Osmond is like 47. Christ. Okay.
And with you of all people representing him.
Only if I'd make it out this office alive. He's actually been charged with murder, it seems.
Yes, I know, because the prosecution will be handled by me.
By you? But you made it sound as if you and the professor had been friends.
We are friends. It's true.
Then why would you do this?
If the Reaper is the prosecutor, there's nothing anyone can do to save him. He's doomed.
What's Lord Van Zieks thinking? What do you mean by what you said before? If you'd like to know the Reaper's true identity, does that mean...
I'm a crown prosecutor, and a mortal like any other. I'm no demigod. Oh, that's such a good line. I am no demigod.
But they've all died, haven't they? The people you've prosecuted, I mean.
I'm just noticing right now, I'm just looking to the left right now, there's all his chalices and wines that he hasn't broken yet.
That's the case he makes his his assistant bring in every fucking case.
No, that's the really nice ones that he didn't break and like, this one looks nice, I'm gonna keep it. He brings the cheap stuff to our trials, okay?
I mean, he has an image to maintain, and he's dramatic as fuck. If I were him, I'd bring the expensive shit. He can afford it. Anyway.
I think I think if you examine one of the things in the room, it actually states he used it himself.
Okay, hold on, we're good. Hold on, we're good. Hold on.
Pretentious, oh my god.
Hold on, let's keep going. I want to examine it now, shit.
Okay. Whether or not the trial ended in a conviction or an acquittal.
Those I prosecute are the vilest wretches of our society. People who, without question, deserve to be found guilty. The world is a better place without them.
I think you'd like to learn a couple things from Mr. Edgeworth. But that's not true of Mr. Natsume, for example. He isn't a vile wretch at all.
Nor was Ginny. In fact, she's ever so hardworking now.
I can't deny that since I encountered you. Things have taken a turn. But the point is this. If any of those vile wretches that escaped Jested subsequently died in mysterious circumstances, it was at the hand of their own kind. It's not my work.
Lord Strongheart said the same. He believes you're not involved in any way.
But you were attacked by those ruffians because they believe
fact is, since people started to call me the Reaper of the Bailey, the number of serious crimes in the capital has dropped substantially.
Oh.
It would appear that even the most hardened criminals can be made fearful for their lives.
Do you mean to say...
I mean to say that if my pseudonym serves a useful purpose, I adopt it gladly and with honor.
But it's putting you in danger. You could be killed.
And
If that is my fate, let God decide.
Lord Van
that
Zeeks.
is a fancy way of saying and. Sorry.
Look at the fuck.
Let God decide. I'm like, damn, bitch. Okay.
Look
I
at
love
that
Van Zeeks. I love him so much.
Look at that fine collection of hollow chalices and bottles neatly lined up there.
My hallowed bottles are filled with the essence of the finest grapes from the finest vineyards I visit. And I personally oversee these chalices being made by the finest crystal craftsmen in the world.
Oh,
Love
what a
him.
pretentious asshole. I love him. And yet you throw them around in court like they were worthless.
Yes, because this imbecile is so unimaginably and repeatedly wide of the mark sometimes.
Oh!
Slay Van
this
Zeeks.
is just a roast party right now.
Before you open your mouth next time, you should consider the poor artisans who work you defile.
So, it's my fault? Silly me. How could I ever thought otherwise? Hold on.
I hate right, Yosuke, that is a valid response, but Gatora hate it because that was such a gaslighty sentence for what you were
Also, if you get a chance, the barrel's on the right.
Hold on. It really looks like a punishment to me.
I've never seen someone sitting like that before.
He hasn't moved a muscle since we arrived. Do you think perhaps he's dead?
If he was dead, Bruno, he wouldn't be sitting up, would he?
Well, anyway, dead or alive, he's not overly approachable, is he? I don't think he's gonna talk to us.
He's not dead.
Damn, I want to talk to him, though. Look at all those ancient caskets lying to the wall there.
Casks in the Reaper's chamber? Or are they caskets?
You don't think all those people who skipped the conviction in the court are lying inside them dead, do you?
Slow movement. What ridiculous notions are going through your head, man? This is my collection of 5 vintages.
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you for clearing that up.
Bruno and I were just musing to ourselves. Don't mind us, Mr. Reaper.
I wouldn't if you hadn't invited yourself to my office to talk nonsense within my earshot.
Van Zeeks, please! I can't take no more!
Alright, where do we go?
My sides hurt!
No chance.
You, Cammy, now you understand why I love this man.
Lord Van Zeeks, about the article in this paper.
Ah, yes, it seems there was a reporter nearby when that little skirmish took place. I had no idea I'd been photographed. It was careless of me.
It looks as though it was taken after the people who attacked you and run away, though.
Rest assured, the police have already apprehended every last one of them.
But there's someone else fighting alongside you, it seems. And I think it's the same man who's sitting over there as we speak, isn't it?
As I mentioned already, he's my apprentice.
Perhaps you could tell us a little more about him? Oh.
He is in my in my tutelage to become a prosecutor. So you could say he's my apprentice, I suppose.
Ah, like you are to Hurley then, Runo.
I don't remember taking an apprenticeship with the great detective.
Poor man.
He's currently compiling a report about last night's attack.
It looks like he's wearing some kind of mask?
On Lord Strongheart's orders. Nobody knows the man's face. Or, indeed, his identity.
But why would you agree to take on such a clearly suspicious individual?
Lord Strongheart's orders again. He's not one for meaningless follies. There will be good reason to his action.
I hope you're right. Ah!
The task is complete. Good. In case you can collate all the briefs.
Nice to meet you.
Well, that's not intimidating at all.
Back to work again. That was really strange, though. I've never met the man before. I didn't even know he existed. And yet, somehow it didn't feel like our first encounter. Oh!
And
Oh!
you kind of went.
Oh!
The Andrew EXE has stopped working.
Oh!
You can tell us what you're thinking if you want to.
No, I'd rather keep those details to myself for now.
Are you sure?
Continue, Mr. Van Zeeks.
Don't bother trying to converse with him. He says nothing to anybody from outside this office. Lord Strongheart has strictly forbidden it.
Oh, I see.
Why are you so interested in my apprentice, anyway?
Oh, no, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to. The way he stood there so casually, yet with that flawless posture. It couldn't be.
What a fucking way to describe somebody.
Yes, there's something I've been meaning to ask you.
Oh, what's that?
That Nipponese man, is he faring well?
Sorry?
The one arrested twice in succession 6 months ago. With the stoop, and the mustache, and the jitters.
Ah! Mr. Nutmeg, you mean?
I'm not sure he'd be very pleased to find out you identified him from that list, Runo.
He's fine, thank you. In fact, I received a letter from him by international post only the other day.
I see. Well, I think we can end our discussion there. There is little time left before tomorrow's trial. I advise you to spend it investigating the case.
Yes, thank you for the advice. And for the conversation. I can't believe he's asking after Saucy-san after a Nipponese. I'm not sure whether to feel happy about that or worried.
He's not a bad dude. He just has to do some bad things. It's okay. How I rationalize all of my fucking villain sims. Oh my god.
God damn it.
Yikes.
Mood.
Oh my god.
Mood, Jesus.
Cammy,
And I'm like, oh my god, that's child. That's literally how I rationalize it.
Cammy, that's how I rationalize fucking overall.
God damn it.
I hate myself. God damn it. Anyway, I never imagined that Mr. Reaper would be friends with a mad scientist, did you? That's a turn up for the books.
A mad scientist. Oh, you mean Professor Harebrain? Yes, it might be worth quizzing the professor about his relationship with Lord Van Zieks, I think. Bye, sir. Bye, mysterious person. Oh, how could this have happened? You must feel awful, as well as a man losing his life on the Crystal Tower was... The Crystal Tower is greatly damaged, too. I know what happened! I know it must have been that. That? The day before the demonstration, I had my usual meal of frankfurters at the hotel restaurant. When I paid the bill, they gave me 3 shillings too much in change. But instead of saying anything, I just slipped the coins in my pocket. They're still in there now. It's divine retribution for my wrongdoing. That's what it is. For a scientist, he has some very illogical anecdotes. Long and illogical. Okay,
Right
so...
back. I want to go grab some ice cream.
I understand Lord Van Zieks is a friend of yours from your university days? Yes, that's right. He was studying law whilst I was studying science. What was he like back then? Good question. Unassuming, gentlemanly, an all-around nice fellow, really. Sorry, I think you misheard me. I'm talking about the cold-hearted, merciless prosecutor, Baruch von Zieks. What was he like when he was at university?
Talk about a leading question, Bruno.
As I said, an unassuming and extremely pleasant gentleman. After all, he is the little daring darling of the Van Zieks family, with all its great aristocratic origins.
I didn't realize he had quite such
Ha-ba-ba-ba. Little darling. It was a bit of a shock when it came back to Britain and learned what he'd become. The Reaper of the Bailey, no less. Yes, that's right.
Is it bad that I walked in and I left my headphones out on the bed, and all I heard when I walked in was happa, happa.
I did hear it though, that there was a very big event in his life that completely changed him after his graduation.
Van Zieks lore!
Oh, really? What sort of event? I'm sorry, but I don't know anymore. I wasn't in the country at that time. I was in Germany already. Oh, yes, of course. If he's heard all about the Reaper, I really don't have the heart to tell him that Lord Van Zieks will be prosecuted in court tomorrow. So, Professor, let me just make this absolutely sure I've understood you properly. The huge explosion that occurred yesterday, that was an accident, you're saying. You had no intent to harm the victim, who was in fact the sole investor in your work. Is that correct? As correct as 2 squared is 4. I swear it. Yes, it's true that the man had perished into a machine of my invention, so I know I'm far from the blameless in all this, but still, I would never use my discoveries, my inventions, to take a person's life, not in a centillion years. I'm a man of science, it's all I know. You have to believe me, please. Do you believe me? Do you believe my hypothesis? Science is the pursuit of truth, you know. I've always believed that, all my life. I'm afraid I don't know much about science, or your theories, but I do believe in you, and I will fight to prove your innocence with all my might. I am a man of the law. It's all I know. You have to believe me. Please. When I went to live in Germany after I graduated, I learned something very important. Nationality, class, lineage, none of that matters. As long as you try your hardest, you can achieve anything. Thank you for that, Professor. And thank you in advance for defending me in court tomorrow in court.
It's time. Time to visit the Great Exhibition.
Sorry?
Well, that's where the incident happened, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose that's true. Time to investigate at last. Okay, I'm gonna ask this question. Should I go investigate now, or is it okay if I call it here?
Up to you.
No, I'm just wondering if there's something interesting that's happening.
I'm trying to remember.
Well, you know what, let's...
I know stuff happens, I just don't remember how much.
Alright, let's go to the Grand Station.
Yeah, I'm just chilling. I'm just eating some chips. I got my fucking 40-ounce water bottle. We're good.
I am sitting here eating ice cream.
Fair
Oh my
enough.
god. So
The showgrounds are a little...
I'm being a gremlin. One sec. Let me This is how I'm sitting.
The showgrounds are... the showgrounds are a bit too big for my liking. If you walk around the dense crowds for 2 hours now, and I feel myself swooning 3 times.
There are a lot of people here, aren't there? I've almost been trotted on 3 times, too. Same. Oh my god.
Be careful, won't you, Iris? Don't let go of my hand. We finally made it through the throngs, though, by the look of it. Here we are, underneath the public experiment stage where the explosion happened yesterday. What's that? I can hear voices from up on top of the stage. Sounds like an argument.
Cappy! It's our characters! Let's go!
Fuck yeah. Right, I've had it with you this time. I'm warning you. I'll arrest you in a minute.
Oh yeah? Go on, Inspector. Give it a shot. You ain't got no evidence, and you know it.
Wait, I know these voices! I won't reveal them until the next time!
No!
Oh my god.
I literally just got Ginny back.
Fucking cheese.
Alright, alright.
Ginny back.
In this episode of Ace Attorney, Andrew being a cock tease.
Andrew being a fucking tease.
You've got a cheeky little mouth on you, young lady, but a night in the cells will teach you some manners.
Just try it, I dare ya. If you want that bag of chips rammed down your throat.
Oh my god, he's eating so aggressively.
Yoo-hoo, Gregsy! What are you doing up there?
Did you jump? It's you! Here! You're here! You are here! Your ladyship! How are you, your ladyship? I do hope you're well, your ladyship!
Does that make her 3 times a lady?
I'm not well at all. It's far too busy everywhere.
I wanted to ride in a balloon, but there was a 3-hour queue! Unbelievable! I'll go and have a word for you at once, your ladyship. You'll be flying as high as a kite in no time once I pull some strings for you.
Tobias Gregson. Tobias Gregson, an inspector at Scotland Yard. Until recently, he was suspended from duty, but it would appear he's back in action now. He's actually quite well known, appearing as he does in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And blah 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 blah. But there are limits, surely, or there should be.
Watch it, sunshine.
So sorry.
Don't tell me you're on this, guys.
Yes, I'm acting for the defense.
So we're here to investigate.
Dear me, that's the situation, isn't it?
Is it really that troubling?
Measly 5 bob. Is that all you got? You're a lawyer, ain't ya? You could stand to carry a bit more copper around in your pockets, Mr. Narada.
What? Hey, that's my last bit of spending money, that is.
You can have it back, but I have to charge you for all the bother. Three bob.
This is Gina Lestrade, a pickpocket or diver born and bred in the East End of London. In the case that led to my own suspension 6 months ago. This is the young girl I was defending in court.
What's your problem, Otto? Diver pickpocket? What's with all the name calling? You want a bag of chips rammed down your throat? And I'll do ya?
I thought you were proud to be a diver, Gina. You were just arguing with Inspector Gregson about it, weren't you? I assumed you'd been up to your usual tricks here at the showground.
That ain't no way to talk to a lady, Otto. Obvious time. Sorry, I choked on ice cream. Blah 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 blah. People can change. I'm an apprentice now, learning to be a Scotland Yard detective. Why did I go fucking a lot of there? So you have to call me what everyone else does. It's Inspector Lestrade now.
Oh, she became a apprentice inspection detective. Nice.
Yep.
Inspector? That badge is homemade, surely.
The inspector part isn't entirely accurate. No one calls for that. For what it's worth, anyway. Investigating is off the cards for all of us.
What's that supposed to mean?
Right, well, I'll be back up top. You hold the fort down here, alright?
Sir.
So they're officers. This raises a lot of questions. And you know what? Unfortunately, now this is where I stopped.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine.
That's probably a good idea.
I'm just messing with you the first time. Don't worry.
That's
All right.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Like,
Well.
you literally made me and Cammy yell at each other, and that's where you quit
Just
the
like
game.
done. Just like done.
It's okay. All right. Well, next time,
Next
we're
one,
gonna we're
Ace Attorney.
we're gonna do it.
Chronicles.
We're doing a 180 and we're jumping to Trials and Tribulations. I can see Cameron just sort of breathing down my neck just because she finally got a voice roll and I'm pulling it under this. I'm just pulling the game under her feet now and just like
Okay,
Andrew,
to be
I'm
fair-
literally going to tell you right fucking now, I don't care what the others think. If you change the game right now, I'm going to find out where you live and I'm going to come stab you.
I said next stream. So Thursday.
Also, okay, pause for a second. Can we vibe to Gina's theme for a second?
It's pretty good.
Okay, thanks for watching.